Tonight for dinner, my mother requested un bistec encebollado, a steak with onions, so let's get to cooking. For me, one of the beautiful things about cooking is you can always shift and tweak your recipes to make them what you want them in that moment. You know what I mean? I've made this steak with onions before plenty of times, and I do it so many different ways. I added some of this mojo criollo. I'm gonna add some garlic paste and some sofrito. Not too much because I don't want the sofrito to overpower the flavors here. I'm gonna season with some adobo. I don't put sazon in my bistec encebollado. It needs that pale color, okay? In my opinion, you do what you want in your kitchen. Some black pepper, some garlic powder, and plenty of onion powder. If you're someone who's weary of salt content, just start off with like a tablespoon. Just go crazy with all the other spices and you add salt later on in the cooking process once you start to taste. Just make sure your meat is fully cooked, okay? Those onions were extra spicy today. I do these little slices like this. You can keep them in rounds, whatever you want to do. Some white distilled vinegar. You want to go at least halfway up so that most of those onions are covered in that vinegar. These are 2 medium-sized onions. You could do 2 large ones, depending on however much onion you want in there. I'm just using extra virgin olive oil because it's what I have. We can just pile it in here, to be honest with you. I do it all the time. Did I possibly need the big caldero today? Yes, but you know what? We're here and we're gonna go with it. Like I said, we're not looking for no type of color on this. If you want it to have color, you could go ahead and do that. I like it pale and nice and tender. I'm gonna take some of those onions, about half of them, with a little bit of that oniony vinegar. I'm letting it go on medium-high for now. My steak has been cooking about 10 minutes. I just come in here and like try to separate all the steak pieces. You see how much juices it's accumulated. It already smells incredible in here. I'm gonna let it cook for like another 20 minutes with the lid all the way on. Trust the process here, friends. Trust the process. For these next 20 minutes, I dropped it down to medium low. I did come in here at about the 20-minute mark, but it wasn't as tender as I wanted it to be just yet. So I went ahead and put the cover back on, spin in there for about another 15 minutes or so, nice and low. You don't have to add the rest of these onions that have been sitting in the vinegar if you don't want this to be too vinegary. You can just chop up a fresh onion and put it on there also, but I like it nice and vinegary. How many times am I gonna say vinegary? Before I let it cook for those last 10 minutes, I actually tasted my broth and I felt like it needed a little bit more depth of flavor. So I just mixed a little bit of beef bouillon with some water, poured it on top, not too much, literally just like a quarter of a cup. Then I put just a little bit more garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, and I just gave it a little bit of a mix. I'm gonna leave the lid on a tilt like this. Those liquids have reduced down. Our steak is super tender and falling apart, which is exactly what you want. Let's serve her up. And look at that delicious plate of food right there. I took a bite of this deliciousness and I didn't have my mic on. We'll take another bite together, okay? My bad. Just like I've been saying, she's pale. She may not look like much, but I promise you, friends, she is everything in all her pale glory. So good.